are not helpless, but when we work together, we can change the world. For example, every year on 9/11, or anytime you turn on the news, it's hard not to see or hear only terror and destruction, but there are always at least a few kind and wise people trying to do the right thing. This shows that there are a few heroes, you just have to look for them, like God did with Noah. You don't have to dedicate your life to building an ark, but even a bunch of little things can make a difference. You can donate to the homeless, adopt a pet, you can help kids that are going through hard times or visit people in the hospital, and you can even pick up pieces of trash in your neighborhood, and all those are mitzvot, which are good deeds. We should just be kind, caring, and honest people. Sometimes it is hard to do the right thing, but the story of Noah reminds us not to quit. When I was talking with Rabbi Zedek, I mentioned a recent cross-country race during which I experienced cramping. I could have quit, but I didn't. The rabbi thought this would be a perfect example of how we could be like Noah. It is all too easy to quit, but if we are going to make a difference, we have to finish the race. That reminds me of my mitzvah project, in which we are trying to help people in need find supplies and food for their pets. For me, that is another example of how we must not give up if we want to make a difference. Finally, I want to thank you all for coming from near and far to share this special day with me and my family. Thank you to those who have traveled from Paris, Florida, Alaska, Michigan, Texas, Colorado, Maryland, Wisconsin, and even as far away as the Chicago suburbs. Thank you to Ruthie for bringing her special musical talent to the service. Thank you to Cantor Friedman for helping me prepare. I hope I wasn't too big of a challenge. Rabbi Zedek for flying me from Kansas to be here for this event. Special thank you to my grandparents for all the wonderful support you give me. Most of all, I have a more than words thank you to my mom and dad. I love you. My Haftorah portion from the book of Isaiah, chapter 54, verses 7 through 10, is in your Torah commentaries on page 57. Lastly, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
That's the smaller blue books, not the ones we've been using for prayer. Thank you, sweetheart. Just one second. Okay, baby? You take it easily.
That's all.
Oh, it was perfect. Okay,
See?
let's go for it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar bin v'im tovim v'ratza v'divrehem hane'amarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'Torah uv'Moshe avdo uv'Yisrael amo Uvinviei ha'emet v'tzedek.
Amen.
B'rega katon azavti uvrachamim gedolim akavzeh b'shetzef ketzef histarti v'nai rega mimeh uvchesed olam Rihamti Amar Goalei Adonai Kimei Noach Zoli Asher Nishbati Me'avor Me Noach Od Al Haaretz Kain Nishbati Miksof Alai Migar Bach Ki Hecharim Yamushu V'Hagvaot Temutena V'Hasti Meite Lo Yamush Uvri Shomi Lo Tamut Amar Merchame Adonai. For a little while I forsook you, but with vast love I will bring you back. In slight anger for a moment I hid my face from you, but with kindness everlasting I will take you back in love, said the Lord your Redeemer. For this to me is like the waters of Noah. As I swore that the waters of Noah nevermore would flood the earth, so I swear that I will not be angry with you or rebuke you. For the mountains may move and the hills be shaken, but my loyalty shall never move from you, nor my covenant of friendship be shaken, said the Lord who takes you back in love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzor kol ha'olamim, tzaddik b'chol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman, ha'omer ve'oseh, hamdaber u'mkayem, shekol devarav emet v'tzedek, al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al hanvi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, shenatata lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Likdusha v'limnuha, l'chavod ultifaret. Al hakol Adonai Eloheinu, anachnu modim lach, uvarchim otah, yiparach shimcha b'fi kol hai, tamid le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat.
I'm going to ask one more time, please put those candies underneath your seat. I promise to tell you when it's time to throw them gently. Not yet. It's not yet. I'd like to invite forward Ian Casper and don't move. Susan, thank you. Susan Cabrera, and also Jack and Lida Zrakny. Please rise.
Bezot HaTorah, Asher Sam Moshe, B'nei B'nei Yisrael, Apsit Adonai, V'yad Moshe. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la, ya la la, ya la, ya la la, ya la la, ya la 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 la. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la, la la la.
It's Hayini,
Leva hazikim bat, Betochecha meusha. Shalom Hashivenu Adonai Elecha Benashuva Chadesh Chadesh Yameinu Chadesh Yameinu Kekedem.
You stay here. Speech. Loud and soft.
Jonah, we are so proud to be here today. Don't read ahead. You've worked really, really hard and it shows. Before we joined a synagogue, we did our best to teach you about Jewish values and the holidays and traditions. We taught you about Yom Kippur, for example, which, as many of you know, is the holiest and most sacred day of the Jewish calendar. And one day, when you were about 4 years old, we heard you running around the house yelling, "Yom Kippur is when we celebrate a turkey! Yom Kippur is when we celebrate a turkey!" So we realized we needed some help. We weren't doing that well. So we joined Emanuel congregation when you started kindergarten. You took to it immediately, and under the guidance of the cantor, the rabbi, and Ruthie, you've grown so much as a Jewish person, as we all can see. In your talk earlier today, you emphasized how we can make the world a better place just by being kind and good people. You, Jonah, are already doing that. You set that example every day. You have great empathy for those around you. From as early as we can remember, you've been thoughtful and kind and wise beyond your years and able to react when others are in pain or struggling. When you were just 1, we were looking at the book Puff the Magic Dragon. At the part when Jackie Paper grows up and he stops coming to visit the dragon, you stopped me and looked at me with a very deep frown, and you just pointed at Puff. You just felt his pain. When you were just 10 or 11, you were playing soccer, and an acquaintance of yours was upset that his team had lost. You sat down next to him and put your hand on his shoulder and asked if he was okay. And still now, when we volunteer to help those in need, you go out of your way to be kind and to reach people. Like the grandmother last month who was looking through the free books for her grandkids. You looked through them with her, and you suggested some of your favorites based on the age of her grandkids and told her what they were about so her choices for them could be more meaningful. We hope that as you get older, you will continue to set an example with your empathy. It will make the world a better place. Another special gift you have is curiosity. You ask so many questions, always trying to understand and figure things out and make them make sense. For example, when you were very young, you once questioned me intensely about the tooth fairy. Have you seen her? How does she get in? Why? Why does she do this? Does she have legs? Is she small? Does she fly? Does she have a head? And after you carefully considered my answers, and with the flawless logic of an 8-year-old, you announced, "Mommy, I think the tooth fairy is real, because who else would trade money for a tooth?" We hope you will always continue to be curious. This too will make the world a better place. We hope you use it to discover things in the world that may be unjust or unfair and help figure out solutions. And also use it to discover the good in your world and then show others where it is. Congratulations, Jonah. We love you so much.
What she said. So, Jonah, I have a confession for you.
Closer.
I don't like kids. I
closer.
never really, what?
Closer to the
Sorry,
microphone.
close to the mic. Oh, yes, sir. You want them to hear this too?
Yes.
So, I'd always rather sit down with a mediocre book than a good kid.
What?
It's true. So when Mommy and I
I
were
just
talking
want to
about...
point out I did not hear this speech before. Sorry.
When Mommy and I decided together to have a child, we thought about what we'd hand down. Would you have my temper? Would you have my love of numbers? Would you have Mommy's love of words? Your grandparents' love of education? It's interesting because you're not those pieces. I mean, that's within you, but there's this Jonah-ness about you. That's the best word I can come up with. You're all these things. You come from a family of bakers and tailors and merchants and lawyers and healers. You come from sailors and soldiers and peacemakers, and it's all in you. You value certain symbols, and I know this. The watch you wore yesterday was my dad's, right?
Yeah.
From 1943? 44?
Yeah.
Before he went off to war, right?
Yeah.
The watch you're wearing today is from your grandparents, right? Mm-hmm. Survivors of the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Sorry. You're the best. The cufflinks you wear are cufflinks my grandfather wore when he got married, right? The talit is mine. The one I'm wearing is from my wedding with your mother, right? The Kiddush cup, it's from my parents to your mom and I for our wedding. Symbols mean things to you. Thank you. But you know the significance of these things. When you were in 3rd grade, you won an empathy award. Who wins an empathy award in 3rd grade? It's your Jonah-ness. We weren't sure if you'd be able to finish the punchline of a joke, and that's a mommy trait, right? Where are we? I think mommy's friends from college will tell you she's never been able to finish a joke in her life, right? When you were young, you had a cackling laugh, and you still have an infectious, wonderful laugh. So it's not what we handed down. It's what you've taken, and it's the Jonah-ness that you've become. We're so proud of you. We're so proud to see the Zreknys and the Rosenbergs and the Kaspers and the Tannenbaums all coming through you. People who are here today in spirit, here today in body, here today in memory are all very proud of you.
Yeah.
We're proud of you. Our prayer for you, Jonah, is that you continue to fill your heart with compassion, with love, fill your head with education, experiences, adventure, and become the full Jonah you can be. We love you. We thank the cantor, the rabbi, Ruthie, and everybody here who made this possible. You're truly blessed. People here love you because of who you are, not because of their relationship to you. They love Jonah for your Jonah-ness. Thank you.
So a couple of items before I speak. There's an extra podium here. I've always wanted to be 6 foot. Today's the day. Second, if we do this again and you fly me in to celebrate a moment, I'm going before you guys. This is not fair. Absolutely, which I mean is a deep compliment of your words from the heart. As some know, I'm very fond of a reflection that I first encountered in the Talmud. It says, words that come from the heart enter the heart. And Jonah, I have no doubt you heard a lot of heart and a lot of wondrous, compassionate gifts of words today, even as you've been a gift in all you did already today and for all the years before. So thank you, exclamation point, thank you. Now, as you may know, there are many ancient traditions about a catastrophic inundation. That's a fancy word for a flood story, for which there's, unsurprisingly, abundant evidence of such an event occurring somewhere around 10,000 years ago in the Persian Gulf area. So in some fashion, then, it shouldn't surprise that traditional cultures and storytelling kept that memory alive. Interestingly, for our purposes, the biblical account, a part of which Jonah shared so very well, is the only version that attaches any ethical component to the tale. To be clear, the oldest reference is found in something we call the Gilgamesh epic. It's really kind of sad. Hardly anybody names their kid Gilgamesh anymore. Have you noticed that? In that story, the gods bring a flood because human beings are just simply too noisy and they're disturbing the sleep of the gods. They can't get rest. In Noah, as you know, the presenting issue is that the quote-unquote earth was filled with violence. And the story insists violence leads to catastrophe, to destruction, always, and in every and any age. And while we are likely accustomed to imagine biblical characters as heroic, larger-than-life forces, you may be aware that our sages were hard on Noah. Specifically, having been informed of the coming destruction, he utters not a word of protest, no effort to change the outcome, not a moment to try to persuade or save. So to speak, I've got mine. Too bad for everybody else. Compare that with the startling moment when the Torah informs us Abraham argues with God
about the fate of the cities of the plain. No doubt that is why we are often called B'nai Avraham and not B'nai Noach, the children of Abraham, not the children of Noah. For from Abraham's legacy comes the quest for more than personal survival, namely to make a difference for a better and a more just world. Now, some know I have a fondness, maybe an obsession with stories. So one that brings the point home and is among my favorites. With apologies for those who may recall it from time to time, the sages in the Talmud are arguing about whether or not it's permissible to go to the gladiatorial combats of ancient Rome. And even if you've never heard the story, I'm sure you would imagine they say we must stay away from such brutality. It's horror we must remove ourselves. And just then, Rabbi Nathan, for the first time in the Talmud, opens his mouth and says we have to go. Before they try to kick him out of the academy, what's your reasoning? Well, when the crowd yells for the blood of the defeated gladiator and goes thumbs down, our job is to shout thumbs up. And that's a good job description in any age, and most certainly in our age, to shout against all odds, thumbs up. So Jonah, it's with that in mind that I'd like you to come forward for a few moments of reflection. All right, get up, get tall. How do you feel?
Fine.
Fine. How do you feel?
Good.
A little loud.
Good.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, you've done well, and I trust you know that, because as so many of your skills as an individual were on display today, and they are on display most every day, including, in addition to what Mom and Dad reflected, that you are unquestionably a bright and funny and joyful and caring young man. But you know that. At least you should know that. I'm not sure you're aware, however, that your English name refers to a reluctant prophet, one who, a bit like Noah, only wants to worry about himself. But he learns a lesson you already know. In this world, we need to care for the other, lift, inspire, assist each other. Now, a long time ago, you handed me a note. It said, "You make me happy." Well, Jonah, you make a whole lot of people feel not only happy, but also hopeful. For you are, and I am confident, will continue to follow the path of Abraham. And that means behebracha, to be as you are, a blessing, a blessing. It is with that in mind that I ask you now to join me at the ark for the blessing of our people. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God bless you and guard you. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God turn the light of God's face into you and be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God's face shine in you and give you life and health, wholeness, holiness, more love than you can imagine, and peace.
In the prayer books, page 586, we invite you to rise physically or spiritually for the Aleinu.
Aleinu Shabbat La'adon HaKol La'tegedu La'yotzer Bereshit Shelo Asanu Kegoye Ha'aratzo Velo Samanu Kemishpachot Ha'adama Shelo Samhalkenu Kahem V'gor Aleinu Kechol Hamonam Va'ananu Korim Umishachavim Umodim Lifnei Melech Malchei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz. Bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad. U'shemo echad.
You may be seated. 598. Why should I wish to see God better than this day? I see something of God in each hour of the 24, and each moment then. In the faces of men and women, I see God, and in my own face in the glass. I find letters from God dropped in the street, and every one is signed by God's name. And I leave them where they are, for I know that wherever I go, others will punctually come forever and ever. Our thoughts turn to those whom we have loved and lost at this season and years past. B. Bart Barish, Rose Bridges, Rose Cornick, Jerry Crown, Hazel Davis, Zissa Ehrlich, Florence Fleischman, Hulda Gates, Bessie Goldstein, Rose Handler, Julius Hartog, Alyssa Ernst Heyman, Harriet Jacobs, Ann Kochever, Kiki Kuhnreich, Dr. Samuel Lerner, Donald B. Lowe Jr., Owen Lynch, Samuel Nuremberg, Robert Pritzker, Morris Rabin, Barbara Salzman, Herbert Schwab, Stephen Gregory Steele, Harold Milton Truman, John Ward, Reuben Weiner, Samuel Wexman, and in recent days, Andrew Weber, Joan Novick, and Meredith Tax. Are there any others who are observing a Yahrzeichen? I will invite those who are in mourning, those who have a Yahrzeit to rise first, and those whose custom it is to join them, please. 598. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shmei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayachon u'v'yomachon u'v'chayeh d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kariv v'imru.
Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam umei almaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yiromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudisha brihu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran be'alma v'imiru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imiru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom bimramav. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imiru.
Amen.
May the source of peace send peace to all of you who are bereaved among us, as we all say, Amen. Jonah, I'll invite you to join me over here. There are so many who are so proud of you, and this congregation feels so bolstered by your presence as a young Jewish adult. From the men of Emanuel, David Fleischman, from our Ishas and ECRS and our board of directors, Susan Bertocchi. Some presents.
Jonah, where is it? Had to dig to find it. On behalf of the men of Emanuel, well, before I say that, I wanted to let you know, first of all, that it has been a great honor to be here and celebrate Shabbat and your bar mitzvah with you, and to be part of the congregation that you lead. Also, I want to say that it's great to meet you, and yesterday, great to meet Sadie. It was Great. On behalf of the men of Emanuel, I want to present to you this gift. And as you can see, it says Kiddush cup on the front. But really, it's just an ordinary cup, pretty nice looking. But it becomes a Kiddush cup for you. It becomes your Kiddush cup when you use it on sacred occasions, and may you have many sacred occasions to use it. Mazel tov.
Hi, Jonah. Well done. You didn't seem nervous at all. I am here representing the Board of Trustees of Emanuel Congregation and the Ishas and the religious school. And I want to first say what an honor it was for me as well. And I won't lie, I cried a couple of times because my sons did this and they did it here with Shelley, and those were great days, and you brought me back to that, and that was just lovely. I just want to also tell you that it's your parents' job to embarrass you in those speeches, and there's just no getting around it, okay? The first gift is from the Ishas, and to go with the cup are your own candlesticks, okay? And the hope is that you will use them in your home because they are your candlesticks, okay? The second gift is a couple of books, a copy of the Tanakh, and also a copy of a book called On the Doorsteps of Your House, which is right here. And the idea behind these gifts, which are from the JUF, they're from the religious school, is that they will be either the beginning of your Jewish library or add to your Jewish library. And I think you're picking up a theme here, that these are yours. They are not your parents, they are yours. And yes, there are some pressure to keep doing this stuff, but it's nice to have your own stuff. The other things are a couple of certificates, which I have here, right here, from the religious school in cooperation with the JUF, and one from the Board of Trustees. These are certificates that will help you make possible a journey to Israel for you. Okay? So those are for you too. And then the last thing is your certificate, which is probably in here too, your bar mitzvah certificate. Oh, sorry. This is the bar mitzvah certificate. It was not a dream. You really did this. You are a bar mitzvah. And the whole community is so proud of you and looks forward to your growth and development and the great things it sounds like you're going to do in the future, especially based on some of the pretty cool stuff you're doing now. So, mazel tov, and it's been a pleasure to be here with you.
Jonah, if you'll come over here, we're going to do some blessings of Thanksgiving. I'm going to give you your parents' Kiddush cup. It has juice in it. No one worry when he throws it back. Baruch
Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
L'chaim.
L'chaim, Jonah.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu, v'ki imanu, v'higianu, lazman hazeh. And Cantor, may I just say, the candy should resemble a rainbow coming down on top of Jonah. Don't throw it at him. Don't hurt him. Make it look like a fountain of candy coming over his head.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Mazel Tov.
Simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov. Ya la 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 la. Simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov and mazel tov and mazel tov and simen tov and mazel tov and simen tov. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la.
like to invite forward any kids who is able to pick up the candy. That would be amazing. Kids, come on up.
Simon Tov and Mazel Tov. We need all kids. Clean up this candy. And Mazel
clean up
Tov
the
and
candy.
Simon Tov. Ya
clean up the
la
candy. Come
la
on
la la la. Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov. Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov. Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov. Ya la 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 la.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.